Uh, I don't have this. There we go. I'm not, again, I always preface this by saying I'm not trying to insult people. You know what a softball field looks like. And for the most part, we have the luxury of having grounds crews take care of the fields, but they don't always do it right. And for several reasons, one of them is liability. If you're pitching from the wrong distance and somebody gets hit, that's on you. And you got to be responsible for knowing the layout of the field, because it could cause some problems in that fashion. The other reason's obvious. We want the game to be played to where it's supposed to be for the appropriate age level. All right, so there's a composite of what the field is, and then I'm going to go over some things that you need to be aware of as we're doing this. First of all, the game starts with pitching. Nothing happens until the pitcher pitches the ball. Now, these are things you should be looking for. We use a pitching plate that is 6 inches by 24 inches. I don't even know why they still make them, but there are these younger kids, boys baseball pitching plates that are 4 inches by 18 inches, and it's for the little kids, and you will see them put the wrong pitching plate on the field. And there is a thing called the lines of 24, where our pitchers are supposed to be within that lines of 24, and now you just took 6 inches away from the pitching plate. Where's their foot supposed to be? And that's what you have to be aware of, the right size of that. When it comes to pitching, we start a measurement from the front center of the pitching plate, and it creates an 8-foot radius for a circle, and that in fact becomes our pitching circle. And there are a number of issues that will be discussed with rules and regulations about what happened when they're in and out of that circle. All right. It's also a 16-foot diameter if you want to do it that way. How far away is the pitching plate? Well, it depends on the age group. And it's measured from the back or the apex of home plate to the front center of the pitching plate. Now, do you have to measure? Not most of the time, sometimes. I mean, we've had fields where they just, for whatever reason, things are not set up the way they're supposed to. They use these fields for multiple organizations. Cedar Lane in the evening uses it for slow pitch, and the slow pitch goes back to 50 feet. And you come back and the grounds crew, they weren't thinking, or they've been out all night, and they put the thing at 50 feet or left it there the night before instead of 43 feet. Now basically for anything 14U and above, it's 43 feet. As Rick alluded to earlier, sometimes they have these tournaments where they do 13. And once they get above 12, it's considered 14. All right. Anything above 12 is considered, so it'd be 43 feet. Once they do 12U, it's 40 feet, 35 feet for 10U. Bob just left here. They have situations where you'll get a schedule where the first 2 games will be 12 U's, and then the last 3 games will be 10 U's, and they forget to change the pitching distance. Well, that's not too bad, because they're going from 40 feet as opposed to 35. Now you reverse that, and they're all of a sudden you got 12 U's playing on a 35-foot field, and someone gets hit by a pitch, that can be put on you for a liability issue. So you're needing to double check to make sure what the pitching distances are. Now, one quick way of dealing with this, if you're not sure, is that if you're doing 14U and you have the circle, you do the hypotenuse of that triangle that goes around there. It should be crossing the pitching plate slightly behind, very slightly behind the bases from first to third. You can look across that way and see that it's slightly behind. If you're doing 12U, notice the pitching circle comes in and the hypotenuse is just a little bit in front of the bases. So if you're not sure, it gives you a quick visual way of checking. And obviously, if you're doing 10U, it moves in and it becomes somewhat more in front of the first and third base. All right, you have a confused look on your face. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just trying, I thought your line across was going from base to base, but you're looking at just the direction of the
right. I'm just looking. So basically, even though I might be the home plate umpire, I'm going to come over here and see what's the relationship across that way. And it gives you a quick idea, is this right? I mean, I have a measuring tape in my car, but I'm not going to carry it to the field with me. I'm not going to put it in the ball bag. And some people try to step it off and things like that. None of that's accurate. So it just gives me an idea, do I need to have this verified? And then if it looks funny this way, I will say to the grounds crew, or I'll get the site director, we need to measure and make sure this is correct. All right. You know, the other end of this thing, we start with the pitching plate. The other end, we start off with a square. The square is 17 inches. Then we start to cut it in half, 8.5 inches each way. And then we start to get into geometry, and we chop out the pieces of the plate, and that becomes our home plate pentagon. Now, I did this for this reason. You get into these angles. Batter's box for softball. This is where we run into the most problems with the field. Most of the time, I would say 40% of the time, they're not right. And this is why. You know, softball batter's boxes are different from baseball batter's boxes. And unfortunately, softball we're second cousins or second fiddle to baseball. Having dealt with umpiring, officiating, and coaching girls' sports because I had daughters, it became very obviously the boys got priority over the girls, which I've always fought for the other end of it. But you have a batter's box where from the midpoint here goes 4 feet to the front, and then it goes three feet to the back. All right, so a girl's batter's box is 3 by 7. And I put this on here for illustration purposes. There's the boys' batter's box. And what you're going to find is that because the field is smaller in softball, there's more bunting, more slap hitting, and they want that extra foot so they're not stepping out of the batter's box. And they get these frames and they put the batter's box in, but the frame they have is a baseball batter's box as opposed to a softball batter's box. And then the other thing is, and we'll get to that in just a second. All right, you tell me, how far is the batter's box supposed to be away from home plate? Yeah, you know the answer. Catcher. All right. Supposed to be 6 inches. People say I go overboard with this, but it's a real pet peeve with me that they put these batter's boxes so close to home plate. There are rules that put us in a situation. If the girl is standing in the batter's box and she's completely in the batter's box and she gets hit by a pitch, she doesn't have to move. She gets first base. Now we're dealing with this particular area here, that 6-inch area. You know, imagine my elbow being in that dead zone, or that what they call the river, and I don't move. Oh, I got the winning run on third base. I get smacked in the elbow, I get hit, and the bases are loaded, and the winning run comes in. If she's in that river, she has to move or make an attempt to move. If she doesn't move, it's a dead ball, and it's a ball because it's not in the strike zone. Now, if she goes like that, she moved. Any movement is okay. Flip side of this, you get the Ricky Henderson stuff. And they're leaning their face over home plate. And they get hit by a ball. What do you have?
It's a ball.
What?
It's a dead ball.
It's a dead ball. What's the call after that, though?
Oh,
They were in the strike zone.
She's literally leaning.
It's a strike.
It's a strike because she prevented the ball from going into the strike zone. Now, what's going to happen when they take these batter's boxes and slide them up against home plate? How's the umpire supposed to make the call? Now, I jokingly tell the grounds crew to get the Benjamins out of their wallet because a dollar bill is 6 inches long. So if they put a $100 bill on each side of the home plate, then they have the right dimensions. They also put that frame on there, and then they put the line on the wrong side of the frame. So instead of it being 6 inches from home plate, it's only 2 or 3 inches. If it's so egregious, I just start wiping it out. But that's one of the big problems you're going to see. All right, this is just for clerical reasons here. Catcher's box, I don't understand how anybody in high school and USSSA can be out of the catcher's box. Now, I don't know any girls that are 8.5 feet wide and 10 feet long. I'm not making comments about my ex-wife, so I get in trouble for that. Colleges actually shortened the catcher's box to 7 feet and 10 feet, but here again, where the controversy comes, there's the baseball catcher's box. So it's easy for them to be out of the box, and we don't need to worry about that. All right, how big is our softball diamond from first to home plate to first base? 60 feet. Now, where is the 60 feet is the question. Suppose, you get these fields where, boys 10-year-olds, girls 10-year-olds, and then they keep moving back and moving back, have multiple places. Where do you measure to?
Outside corner.
What?
The outside corner of the base.
I didn't hear you.
The outside corner of the base.
All right, good. So basically, you're measuring from the point or the apex of home plate to the back of the base. It's 60 feet, but everything is included in that 60 feet. People measure it to the front of the base. Now you just made the field 17 inches longer.
They argue with me all the time.
Yep. 60 feet, there's your distance. I'll do this real fast because it's the same thing on third base side. And the whole reason I did this is that second base has a slight modification. It goes from the foul line to the center of second base. It's the only way they can fit it in there. It goes to the midpoint of second base. Now, it seems like, I'll do that fast because it's just repetitious. All right, people say, why do I need to know this? You'd be surprised. They get some of these fields and they don't have Hollywood bases, they have the stakes. And the bases are this way and that way, and they're not sure where they're supposed to be. How far is it from home plate to second base? Have any idea?
What was that? What did you ask?
What's the distance from home plate to second base?
It's 87 something. Can't remember the exact.
Well, you're mixing up baseball and softball, but
Probably.
all right. Your numbers are mixing up. So it goes again from the back of home plate to the center of second base is 84 feet, 10 1/4 inches, and it goes
It's
through.
written down in our container.
All right, one from baseball is 127 feet. That's where you got your 7. All right. All right, then you have the thing called the 3-foot baseline, which starts at 30 feet, which is the midpoint. A runner, once they get to that point, must run in this area here. If they're in fair territory and they get hit with a thrown ball and prevent the first baseman from catching the ball, they can be declared out for interference. All right. Come on, speed up. All right, now I do this because I also do high school. It's never really happened in U-Trip. What's the size of the coach's box? I mean, do I care? No. What the bottom line is, it was test questions, so I stuck it on my slide. Coach's box is, first of all, supposed to be 8 feet from the foul line, or from the foul line, and the size is 3 by 15. So if you come up with a test question like that, that's the answer. The other thing is, again, this was a test question, what's the diameter of the on-deck circle? We're lucky if they have an on-deck circle. So the diameter of that is 5 feet. And then again, dimensions. This actually makes sense to me. This is important. We don't always get this, and I wish they would do it. The recommended minimum distance from the foul lines and home plate should be 25 feet. And I don't want to get too much farther than that, but that's what you're supposed to be. And that is your field.